So this is my first live ever. Still trying to figure it all out, but this is my first time that I've been I'm ever doing a live, and yeah. So hopefully, it's a good experience, and I'm just gonna set the highest attention for everybody. And I don't know. I just wanted to talk to you guys about why I'm really excited about April 2022. Yes, well, April 5th, Venus went into Pisces, and it just really got me thinking about, um, like what, like why I was just feeling really good, and like what, just thinking about what Venus and Pisces is and how to use that energy, to, make your dreams into reality. Um, Real quick, I just want to go through a breakthrough of the cards. So all these cards on this side, these two cards here where I'm pointing at, these represent Venus, right? So you have the Hierophant. All right, so this is basically about stability, routines, your beliefs, your values, your ethics, things like that. These are all things that describe Venus energy. And then this card here, the Empress, this is all about physical pleasure, reproduction, fertility, things that you can physically and touch, like, things that you enjoy. It's like, this is basically like Mother Earth. This is the like Garden of Eden type of energy here, and that's what Venus, the planet, that's what that energy is all about. So this is all about stuff that you enjoy, stuff that, like pleasure, paradise, that type of vibe. All right. So then, if you look over here, these two cards are where I'm pointing at now. These describe Pisces. So Pisces energy deals with the moon. This deals with intuition, your inner self, your subconscious, things that are hidden, like things that in the dark, like finding your way through the darkness. Or this is like I said, intuition, trusting your inner voice, and learning to like look at your be more heart centered. So thinking with more of your heart and trusting your gut rather than your ego in your head. And then this one here, the next card, the Hangman. So as you can see, this is someone that's suspended upside down, and they're basically in their one foot that's tied to this. I guess you could call it a cross or a tree. So, and then you can look at here, his head is glowing like his, so it represents enlightenment, looking at things from a different perspective, thinking outside of the box, having faith, trusting that, good things, trusting in a higher, in something higher, great or greater than yourself. So those two things with Pisces, and then you combine that with Venus, and this transit is going on. So when I look at cards or whatever, or astrology or anything like that, it's not necessarily a thing about, oh, let me play the lottery this day because the planets are aligned and it's a luckier day. But it's more like taking like a cosmic weather forecast. So this is basically telling me that April is really a good time to start thinking about those dreams that you've been wanting to do, or those things that you felt as though you couldn't really do. Like for myself, like I've been wanting to go on vacation for the longest time, but then it's like, oh, how am I going to get it? How am I going to get the money? And it's not the right time, with like coronavirus and all this other stuff going on. It's like I want to do something, but I got all these other things that keep coming up that kind of delay or make me think twice about, going full-fledged into making things happen. So now April 2022 is the time to start reconsidering, like, what, maybe it's time for me to start planning that vacation. Maybe it's the time for me to start putting myself out there to look for that, job that's going to make me satisfied and happy and fulfill me. Start reconsidering things and start being more optimistic, because Venus and Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is, they're basically they're compatible energies. So it's time to start thinking about those things that you thought you couldn't do it. You thought you couldn't do, and start saying, you know what, maybe this is the right time to start doing it. And like I said, this isn't, like, trust your gut. Like, for me, I've just been really thinking about, like, I don't know. I didn't mean to start. All right, I guess I can share this, but I found that, like, I haven't really found the right job for a long time. Like, either it wasn't the right job that was paying me what I wanted to pay, or I kept getting, like, job offers, but it's in a field that I know that I'm not going to be happy with. And it's like, it's a difference between, getting a job somewhere that's going to pay the bills versus getting a job that you're going to be happy in. It's like, you can work anywhere that's going to hire you, but are you really going to be happy? Because you're going to be spending, 9 to 5 every day, and you got to be miserable from 9 in the morning to 5 at night. And then, it's like your time is limited on this earth. So it's like, do you really, unless you have, like, circumstances where, yeah, I gotta grind this out because I need the money to pay bills and I got kids, and I gotta feed my kids or whatever. But if you don't have that situation, then maybe, you don't really need to settle for just any job that's willing to pay you peanuts, and rather just invest in yourself enough to do something that's gonna not only make you happy in the long run, but also pay you what you need to survive. And I think that a lot of people, like, they think they have to compromise. Oh, well, I can't do what I really want to do because I need to survive, because what I really want to do isn't going to pay me the money that I need to live. So it's like people sacrifice one thing to, like I said, survive, or to think that, oh, I can't, get the job that I want, or, oh, I have to settle for this relationship because I'm not attractive enough to get, or I'm not, or no one's gonna, I can't get the person that I want, so I'd rather settle for someone that I'm not gonna be happy with just for the sake of being in a relationship. I'm just, like, naming things as they're coming to me, because I'm listening to Spirit, and they're kind of, like, giving me stuff to say, but whatever, I'm just saying it. But I've just been really thinking about what, after this whole Venus and Pisces happened 2 days ago. And I don't know if you follow the news or anything like that, and I'm not really a, celebrity, like, caught up in pop culture type of person. Like, I don't really care. You know what I mean? It's like, there's no celebrities that are gonna come to my house and pay my bills or hang out with me and talk and be best friends with me anytime soon. So I don't really care what Kim Kardashian or whoever, Joe Jonas or whoever's doing what. But if you're familiar with, like, Monique and Lee Daniels, and with that situation and that feud, and how they recently reconciled and now they're working together again, it's like, that's what this Venus and Pisces energy is all about. It's more like, making amends, and, your, like you said, your values, your ethics, thinking of, like, things, like, above yourself. You know what I mean? Like, what's the greater good? And kind of having that leap of faith, as I said before. So it's like a lot of things, especially as far as, like, in the world right now. And I know that, like, a lot of people, a lot of people across the world are really worried about, like, Ukraine and Russia and the situation going on there. But I think with this Venus and Pisces energy coming in, I think there's, like, I don't know, maybe things might have changed in the news recently, but think that there's, like, they're having, like, kind of a ceasefire, or they're kind of talking about having a peace talk or something like that. So this is, yeah, exactly. Like, the tarot is based on, like, playing cards. So yeah, it's a whole history. Like, yeah, it goes back. So yeah, playing cards and tarot, they're kind of related. But yeah, but there's, like, that whole Venus and Pisces energy is really, about making people start thinking from, what it is that makes them happy and fulfilled, and really making people think on like a not necessarily a utopian type of like everyone's gonna like hold hands around the world and start singing kumbaya, but people are really gonna start thinking about being happier in life, and doing things that make them happy rather than just all this like conflict and back and forth bickering, and you know what I mean. And I think, yeah, I know, I know I'm not a big pop culture person, but since a lot of people have been talking about it, the whole thing that happened at the Oscars earlier this week with Will Smith, it really, like, I have this personal like theory that when big events happen on like a large scale, like like with the Oscars, when there's like everybody saw what happened, or like with September 11th, and like not necessarily tragedies, but when there's big events like that, it's kind of like the universe is kind of like trying to give humanity or our society a message. Like, from my belief system, like the universe is always trying to communicate with us. Our higher selves are always trying to communicate with us, because this world that we live in, it's kind of like a school to where we learn how to spiritually grow and evolve. And yeah, so I'm basically giving you the short version of it, but basically what that incident was teaching humanity was about, thinking about our emotions and how we treat one another, how basically we kind of slap each other, I'm talking metaphorically, but how we kind of don't care about one another, how we just get numb to violence, and how, we don't really think about how our words and actions impact other people. And sometimes it takes events like, what happened at the Oscars to really make humanity start to sit back and question and start to think about these things. Yeah, and and I'm sure like you guys have heard like everyone, because it's been like all over the news and everyone's been talking about it. So I'm not gonna like rehash it, but I try not to get caught up in the back and forth of, like when like everyone has their opinions, and it's like now it's like you go on social media and people are just like everyone gets to say their opinion, even like the people that have the craziest, weirdest, like out there ideas and beliefs, they have a platform now. So in our age of social media, you get all kinds of people, you're exposed to everything. So you get everyone that's, easily triggered. And it's like nowadays, it's like people just come like I don't know, like, I don't want to say it just feels like everyone that is online, they just expect to fight. Like there's such a energy in the air now where it's like everyone's easily triggered and nobody wants to have a conversation. No one wants to learn anything. Everyone's like, oh, either you believe the way I believe or you're nothing and I'm going to attack you and I'm going to make fun of you, or I'm going to belittle you or make you feel bad because you don't believe and think or look the way I think and believe in, so it's like there's so much fighting going on in the world that now it's like, but it's just, for me, it's weird because I think that if more people start to actually talk about the issues, like have a conversation, not yelling back and forth at one another, then we'll find out that we actually have a lot more in common than we have that separates us or has that makes us different. And I think that in April, what we're seeing, like this energy is really going to open up some dialogue for a lot of people as far as, the back and forth and how we kind of, like the culture that we live in now, as far as, how we look at news stories or, how it's like, I don't know, there's like, I don't know if you guys heard of it. There's this new reality show, and I don't know, it's called like the Bad Boys Club or whatever. And I know there's like, yeah, I don't really watch it. I don't really care for reality TV and all like that. But I think that the reason why a lot of people like to watch the craziness of reality TV shows is because we like looking at other people's problems so that we can kind of escape from our own or kind of feel better about our own lives. And like we get entertained by looking at other people fight and argue and be nasty and mean and violent to one another. And I think now, like this period in April is really going to start kicking off a kind of a discussion to where we're going to say, oh, is that who we are as a society? Like, is this who we are? Are we just like really cutthroat and mean and nasty to each other for no reason because someone is different or someone, you know what I mean? Like, is that what we stand for? Or is there something that we can start looking at? You know what I mean? Like, people are really going to start challenging and questioning these things. And people are really going to start looking at it's like, and I know like with a lot of TV, like I tried not to watch a lot of TV, but again, if you have a phone, like you're always getting notifications unless you have your phone on silent. Like you're always getting notifications about something dumb about what celebrity did or what, reality show person did. And it's like, is this news? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not judging anybody. I'm not saying, oh, well, if you like reality TV, then, you're a bad person. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that as a society, we're going to start looking at ourselves in a way where we're starting to question and we're starting to re-examine who we are and what we want out of our society. Yeah. So April 2022, on an individual level, I would definitely start, like I said before, all those dreams and all these wishes and hopes that you may have had in the past. Like I would really start taking into account what you want to do. Like, anything that you thought that you couldn't do or thought that, oh, well, it's impossible. That's never going to happen for me. Like start reconsidering that because the energy out in the ethers is basically saying, if you want it, then this is a perfect time to start making it manifest in your life. And that's a general rule because Venus and Pisces, it depends that you have to look at your natal chart, your in astrology to find out exactly how that Venus and Pisces is going to manifest for you. So let's say if it's in your sixth house, and you've been wanting to, I don't know, like get back into your gym routine or something like that, then yeah, Venus and Pisces may be a good jumping off point for you to, start going back to the gym or start that diet again or start that new, fitness regimen or, whatever. Again, if it's in the ninth house, you might want to start going back to school, start thinking about going back to college or thinking about reading a book or taking a course or an online class or something that you've been interested in or you didn't because maybe you thought you couldn't, maybe you thought you weren't able to do it. So yeah, so that plays a part in it too. But April is going to be a pretty significant month too because you've also got Pluto, which is going retrograde, I think on the 24th or the 25th. Don't quote me on that, but late April. Yeah, let's just say late April for now. So when Pluto I can't even talk. Pluto, yes. So when Pluto goes retrograde, it's basically, and I've been talking about America's Pluto Return, and basically it's when Pluto returns or when Pluto returns to the exact position of when it was at the time of your birth. So and Pluto returns are pretty significant for like countries and like empires because in the past Pluto returns have meant like the end of empires or the end or a change or transformation. So America's Pluto return basically, for me, I've just been kind of noticing how the United States is changing. We're Ketanji Brown Jackson is nominated the first African American woman to be seated on the Supreme Court. You're also having the whole there's a lot of things in political space, but also with how you're having more, was it LGBTQ people that are becoming more mainstream as far as like accepting people that are different, or this whole redefining of what it means, or evolving, I should say, of genders, and how we, how men are supposed to act, how women are supposed to act. It's like, yeah, like now it's like not even the whole thing about being transgender or anything like that, but even as men, it's like before in the past where it's like, oh, a man can't cry, a man can only show anger and violence, and a man has to be tough, and a man has to be macho. But now it's like, yeah, it's okay for a man to cry, and a man to have emotions, and a man to get, mental help and therapy if he needs it, and the same thing for a woman. It's like, it's more of an equalization, I should say, because, like I say, in my belief, I believe that everybody, we're all born with some mix of masculine and feminine qualities. So, and that's regardless of what you look like on the outside. We all have a mix of feminine and masculine within us. Whether you are, it's a spectrum. So whether you're more on the masculine or feminine side or somewhere in the middle, we all have it. So I think now it's like we're coming to an understanding of an acceptance of it, an awareness of it, and an acceptance of it as a society. Even when, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was like a big scandal about like Harry Styles wearing, like androgynous clothing, or like, yeah, Little Nas X and his, being more like open about his sexuality, and being more androgynous and things like that. So yeah, and it looks like now, like, people don't really care. Like, it's not, nobody cares if you're a man and you want to wear something pink or feminine. Nobody cares if you're a woman if you want to wear something more masculine presenting. Like, it's especially with like the younger generations that are coming now. It's like, they're not really concerned about that. It's more about, yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's more about your intentions of as a person rather than your outside, like it's more like how you identify, and your character. Yeah, the content. Yeah, that's right. What Dr. King said, the content of your character versus, people judging you and making assumptions about based on how you look on the outside, or what they think about how you look on the outside. But yeah, so Pluto retrograde basically talks about how it's like a slingshot. So whenever you hear people say, oh, Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, Mars retrograde, think of it like a slingshot. It's like the planets are all moving in a circle, right? So it's kind of like a slingshot. They're pulling back the energy a little bit, so it's gearing up to like be slingshotted forward. So Pluto retrograde and retrogrades are always times of looking inward, or self-reflection, or re-examination. So Pluto retrograde, and around late April, basically it's just talking about how, the United States, I should say, because, I'm in the United States, so that's where my main point of reference is. It's basically, we're looking at, I don't want to say any, like, I don't really like predicting like doom and gloom or anything like that, but, there may be events that happen to where we do have to start looking at the foundations of our country as far as, systemic oppression and racism and sexism and LGBTQ people and income inequality. Speaking of which, I don't know if you've heard but the whole thing about the people in, I think it's New York, somewhere, the Amazon labor union. And we're going to start seeing a lot of people, like grassroots led movements, to where, calling for change, to where things are made equitable for, like not big corporations that are basically trying to get rich off the oppression of the little guy. And we're going to start seeing more of that. And that's something that I'm, kind of glad looking forward to. But yeah, I forget the name of the guy, but yeah, he's in Staten. Yeah, Chris Smalls. Yeah, that's his name. I think that's what it is. But yeah, but and you can look up all this stuff, but it's just something that Spirit wanted me kind of like highlighted for me to mention, and it just like I'm excited to see what the rest of April 2022 will bring because based on and Venus and Pisces, it's a pretty strong energy because like I said, Venus and Neptune are very mutually beneficial energies, and they work really well together. So yeah, so you have that, and then you have the like I said, the Pluto retrograde happening in late April, and then you have Mars and Saturn in Aquarius, which is kind of it's not, and I think that they were saying something that was supposed to. I don't know if you've, like I said, if you haven't heard, but there was like whispers of something happening on April 4th because of Mars and Aquarius. I'm sorry, Mars and Aquarius and Saturn and Aquarius happening, but that didn't. There wasn't anything bad that happened that I know of. But yeah, that's come and gone, and but like I said, April 2022. I'm just kind of excited to see how this month will fold out, and I don't know if you vision board or you have like kind of any type of tools of manifestation that you do, like if you write down your goals for the month or whatever you do to help you turn your dreams into reality. I would definitely encourage you to do it because this is like a good time, little window in time to start making it come into reality. I don't know, and also not necessarily saying that wave a magic wand and boom, everything's gonna be sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, but sometimes you need to reflect and you need to sort of like get your quiet, empty space. You have your alone time so you can figure out, what it is, what blockages or what it is that may be preventing you from manifesting the life that you want or your goals and your dreams. Because sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you're carrying around like trauma and hurt and pain from the past that you like on a day-to-day basis you don't think about, but you haven't really dealt with, so it's still there. And that's the other side of Pisces that I wanted to bring about when I talked about earlier about the moon card. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of reflective. Like this is the deck that I got. It's the AE Weight holographic tarot deck that I'm using. And it's kind of got this like reflective quality here. I don't know if you see it, but the moon card basically deals with your subconscious and your intuition and your psyche. So yeah, if you have like any childhood trauma, or for instance, let's say if you've been having a hard time finding a relationship that you've been wanting to, you want to get in a relationship, you want to, be at a committed monogamous relationship with someone, but for some reason you keep attracting flaky people, toxic people, liars, manipulators, people that are like non-committal or unable to commit to you. Like you keep noticing these patterns that keep happening whenever and you're going on the dating sites and the apps, and you just it's like the same patterns keep happening over and over again. This is April's also a good month for you to start, looking at what things are you, what energy are you giving off that keeps attracting problematic people to you. You know what I mean? And it's not just saying that you're going out in the world and saying, please, all you problematic, toxic people, please come to me. Please waste my time and hurt my feelings and do whatever you want to me because of whatever. It's not like you're purposely going out there saying that, but if you are dealing with unresolved inner turmoil and pain and trauma, and you haven't dealt with it, like trauma always finds a way to manifest in your life. Like even if like if you like they say stress can kill you. Like if you hold on to your stress and you somehow like you get high blood pressure and then you can have a stroke and you have all these different physical like sickness because of unresolved stress that you may be just carrying around, and the burning of it for like just weighing down you for so long just ultimately, makes you sick. It's this kind of the same thing with this psychologically. It's like you've got stuff that's been lingering around, or if you were in a bad relationship once upon a time, and now you go out there thinking that, oh, you're always going to attract bad relationships, then yeah, like if you don't deal with that or deal with what, like make peace with that hurt and pain, then yeah, of course you're going to keep attracting it because you haven't dealt with it. And so long story short to say that this is a good month for healing, for forgiveness, for letting go. Like I said, we see an example of this with Monique and Lee Daniels situation. How they were able to, Lee Daniels was publicly able to apologize, and they're able to work together again. This month is a good time to start forgiving, healing, doing the work, the inner work. Again, the moon card here, taking, having faith that things will work out for your higher good, and kind of like re-examining your values, things that you believe, your beliefs, and looking for things that make you happy, make you be fruitful and multiply. Now, any one of you that study the Christian Bible, but yeah, this is kind of what that's all about. And once you start doing that, or once you start taking the steps to do that, because again, it's not an overnight thing. Trust me, I've been through enough traumatic situations where over my life, and I'm so glad, and I'm so glad that I am where I am today, and not dead or in some kind of psychiatric hospital or in jail, because of my faith and doing, taking steps to do that internal work on my spirit and my emotions, and dealing with it, and doing the hard stuff that you don't want to do because sometimes it's just painful. You know what I mean? I sympathize with everyone that's been going through some difficult things or some trauma, because it is painful, and sometimes you got to do that all by yourself, and ain't nobody's gonna be there to hold your hand and walk you through it. Sometimes you're trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B, and you feel like you're just by yourself and nobody gives a damn. You know what I mean? So, and I get it, and I get why it's easier to just, stuff all your feelings and to the back of your mind. But the cards and the planets are kind of encouraging you to start examining those things about yourself so that you can have the life that you want, not the life that you have to settle for. All right. Wow, that was powerful. I didn't mean to go do all that, but hey, it came through, and that's what came through. All right. Lastly, I'm going to do one more card. This is the Angel Prayers card to kind of give us a little wrap up of everything, overall advice. So I'm going to shuffle these and meditate on it, and my guides and my angels, something to give everybody that's going to watch this here now and in the future, something that's going to help all of us out. All right, give it a good shuffle, and then one more. All right, now cut it again. All right, here we go. All right. So it says, spiritual abundance. Thank you, angels, for blessing me with infinite abundance. And yeah, so that's a good way to close this out on. We live in a universe of abundance, and for the longest time, whenever I've gotten upset about the state of the world and why society is the way it is, I I meditate, and in my meditation, spirit just reminds me that we live in a universe of abundance, and a lot of people existing in the world now. You have two types of people. You have people that are in the vibration of abundance, and you have people that are in the vibration of poverty. Not just being poor and destitute, but spiritual poverty. And you have these people that live in spiritual poverty on that vibration, that they feel as though, there isn't enough, there isn't enough love, there isn't enough resources, there isn't enough whatever that they need to be fulfilled. So they have no problems with being cutthroat and mean and nasty, or getting whatever, by any means necessary. They have this kind of attitude, and, within themselves, that, I got to do what I got to do, because there's not enough in the world for me and my tribe. And there's a lot of tribalism that's also going on too. So the more that you live your life from a place of abundance, the more you understand that the universe is open to give you everything that you want, the more that you start living in that vibration and start doing things from a place of abundance. You don't look at someone else in need. Like, you don't look at someone else that may be homeless on the street and say, oh, go get a job, you bum. You say, you know what? That person needs help, and I have enough help, and I'm abundant enough and blessed enough in my life. I can help that other people, and that's why you have a lot of these people that have all the money in the world, and they still will turn but they're also the most selfish and the most stingy and the most egotistical, because they still are living in that vibration of poverty. And it's more like, and you have this kind of like divide of people per se, where you have even people that don't have much to give, they still volunteer, and they're the most charitable, hospitable, loving, and kind people out there, even though they may not have much in terms of money and material things. So the more that you tap into your higher self and understand that, spiritual abundance is, a vibration that you can live into, and that spiritual, and when you're abundant in spirit, it manifests and out like a light, and you attract more things. Not necessarily saying that, oh, you're going to get a mansion and 3 yachts and a summer home in Miami because you go to a certain church, or you're a spiritual quote unquote person, but you don't feel the need, you don't worry about all these other things about, oh, I gotta have the latest Birkin bag because, I gotta look rich, and, you don't have to live in this constant state of fear and anxiety about not having enough, or, being one of those people that have all the money in the world and still not satisfied and still not at peace in your spirit. So yes, be mindful of spiritual abundance, and be mindful of, living your life from a place of love and heart-centered fulfillment, doing things that fulfill your spirit and fulfill you from the inside out, and having it reflect in your life as far as, empathy and kindness to other people that are different from you, and not feeling as though, you're disconnected from everyone else, and that you're in competition with everyone else in the world, but more like we're all in this together. So that's where I would like to end this at. Like I said, this is my first live, so thank you so much for everyone that gets to watch this now and in the future. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.